One. Another episode here of Getting There with Gaz. We're talking to a business owner in this episode, a business themed episode for you young entrepreneurs or soon to be business owners. So on the audio side, you may not be able to actually see because that's a part of audio, but on the visual side, we already know who this person is. So for the audio audience, tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Bhav Singh. I'm the owner of Uptown Beverage. I'm kind of I guess you could say, the brains behind the whole operation of bringing it from what it was a year ago to what it is now. In my previous experience, I also created a startup incubator in LA. So I'm big into VC, tech, startups, beer now. So yeah, that's me.
You've got it all going on, man. So let's go further back in your life. Let's go back to when you were about like 6 years old. What was your dream job when you were a child? And did that same dream job stay the same when you were about 18 years old? And where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Niskayuna. And my dream job when I was young, I actually wanted to be the Walmart the toy section manager.
Really?
So, because I was like, yo, they got all these toys there. And if I could manage those, that'd be fire. And
it's true. Every kid's dream.
yeah. And but then, I turned 10 and then I got into robotics, started building robots when I was about in eighth grade or ninth grade. I built Wally at home, and then I joined the robotics team, and then became the captain of the robotics team in high school. And then that kind of led into me going to USC for computer science. Then I was like, yo, I don't want to be a slave for someone's company coding, right?
Right.
And so now I'm like, going to get back into business, join the family business.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Before you keep going, I got to go back. I can't leave that over the plate there for me. You just randomly decided I'm going to start building robots? 14-year-olds are not like, hey, I'm going to build Wally. Like, what inspired you to all of a sudden say, you know what, I'm building a robot because I think I can do this?
It was just so fascinating. It's like you could make something that does something for you. Isn't that nuts? Like,
Yeah.
I had Wally's eyes were they were both speakers that played from the FM radio, right? So I could hear it was like sports live.
Wow.
And then Wally would move depending on where I was.
You did
Yeah,
that
it
when
was
you were
pretty.
14. So, like, when you do that first one, you got to be like, okay, if I can do this now when I'm young, what can I? You mentioned joining the robotics club. You probably thought, hey, if I'm crushing it this young, I can't wait to see what my potential is doing this.
Yeah, and then I realized, yo, this is such a weird career because I'm literally gonna be a slave, you know,
Right.
just slaving like hundreds of hours a week to do someone else's work. And I was like, this is kind of dumb. Like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. You realize your
Yeah,
results are like, you know what? It's not happening for me because this is way too difficult to have this happen. Although, again, young and having success with it, it's not exactly what you want to do. So, you mentioned the family business. Tell us a little bit about your family, how long your family had this business going, or were they in a different business before they started this?
yeah. So my dad bought Uptown Beverage about 10 years ago, and it was nothing like what it is today. It was like one of those shops that you kind of just, if you need something at like 9 p.m. and you just need to get your beer for the night, that's where you go, right? But now it's so I took it over, or I started helping out about a year ago. I was always involved, like growing up. I used to do redemption during the summer, like for 12 hours a day. That was the worst. One summer I did redemption for the whole summer just for Samsung Galaxy S3. It was the worst.
Brutal.
Brutal. That's like the worst phone out there, right? so so then so about a year ago, I did the whole rebrand for the store, and we launched a bunch of new stuff. You saw it, guys. It's like way different than any other beer store. It's not the same.
Was it ever strange going back home and working with your parents? Because you spend all day there and your dad's basically your boss. You're an employee. And now, if you want to go home and complain about work, you can't because it's your dad.
Yeah, in the beginning, it was just one of those things you had to do. I certainly had my time where I was like, yo, I hate the family business. I'm going to go work for someone else. I probably quit or got fired from about 9 jobs in 4 years. And I was like, this is so ass. Like compared to just working for, even if it's your parents, just working for someone else other than your family, it was kind of weird to me. But coming home to it, you talk about new ideas and stuff, and I finally got my ideas were finally taken seriously, like after college.
So you mentioned right there a second ago, 9 jobs in like 4 years. How did that happen? What, did you just not want to see your benefit? Where it's like, hey, I'm working for everybody else. My goal eventually now I realize I want to run a business. Like, did you always have this like business owner mindset early in your life that no, I can't work for somebody else. I got to run the show.
I think I think that was definitely part of it. I think a larger part of it was the fact that I was tired of people not taking my advice, and just out of frustration, people weren't innovating when they should have been. Right? For example, I got fired from this restaurant that I was working at during school because I told the manager how he should improve his schedule. And I was like, bro, like I'm just trying to help you, right? And I got fired for giving him advice because he said I was like overstepping or something. Like, dude, this is so stupid. Like, right? And that was just the dumbest thing ever, right? And then, just like other small things like keeping your employees. I used to work at Blaze, right? Like my freshman year of college or something. And dude, they kept me till like 3 a.m. And I was like, dude, this is not okay. Like, I can't work like 11 hours of excruciating work, right? And it was just so awful. Like, they make you close and then you have to clean for like 3 hours. And like, this is so ass. Like, this is so garbage.
Oh, dude, it's
Yeah. So
terrible.
it was just
So
a
you're working at
collection
these
of
terrible
all.
jobs. You don't like the hours. You don't like the thing.
It was just like everyone. No one wanted to listen. Everyone was there for the profit. No one was there for the change. And that was it.
No, it makes total sense. I get what you're saying. So you're doing these jobs, you're doing these jobs. Yeah, you don't want to be there anymore. You're basically saying, you know what? I want to do my own thing. I can run my own thing, which is interesting because it feels like you mentioned your freshman year there. It feels like that first year at USC out of Southern California. Does that spark the interest too of, you know what? Maybe I can start something, straight up a startup. I'm out here in California, West Coast, young guy doing these jobs. It almost seems like, you know what? That's what may have sparked your idea to start on some of these startup companies.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did. Um, it was also just like in college, freshman year. College is definitely to discover yourself. I 100% agree with that. I think freshman year of college, I definitely found out that computer science wasn't for me, even though I was talented at it. I just every interview I went to, I got to the final round, and they obviously saw that I wasn't passionate about it. But I was crazy about it, but I wasn't passionate. Like I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. I wanted to use it to make something, but I didn't want to do it for someone. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those
Yes.
things where and then freshman year, sophomore year, I was really burdened by that. The fact that I couldn't get a job as a software intern. Everyone else was getting internships, right? And I just wasn't getting anything. But I knew I was more talented than all of them, like majority of them at software engineering, right? And I was like, why is this happening, right? And then um, junior year, I figure out that I want to create the startup incubator, right? And that's when everything got solved. I was like, yo, this is my real passion. And they probably didn't hire me in these software interviews because they could obviously tell that I didn't give a shit about them and their company, right? Like maybe I wasn't I wasn't faking it till I made it in software. So it was just a bunch of different things piling up, and here we are. Then we learned a lot from the incubator, and now we're changing the beer industry.
Dude, it's crazy that path you're able to take and have all those things happen for you. If I'm not mistaken, I did a little research before we did this interview today. Doesn't this startup get printed in the Trojan, which is a pretty big deal? Didn't you guys end up getting a little profile piece in the school newspaper at USC?
We did, yeah. Me and my friend Andrew Brilliant, who was at the time he was director of operations of the whole incubator. Um, we were compared to the other incubators on campus and other incubators in LA, we were extremely aggressive about how we want to treat our startups in the sense that we always put quality above anything. And that's something that's translated across everything that I do. Um, Quality, being at the forefront of everything that goes on. Um, it was a good thing to be in a
And,
newspaper.
and just to clarify one more time, you didn't sell the startup, right? You still are the owner. You still run it. It's just a part of all the other things that are working in your career right now. You're doing Uptown Beverage. You're doing a bunch of different stuff, but that startup is still active, correct?
Yeah, well, it's a venture studio, so we have a bunch of startups that are in it. So we helped out a bunch of startups go from like their idea stage to their to market, right? So there's about like 12 or 13 of
You're a hustler, man. That's why I'm so glad I had you on this conversation. You're doing
them.
things that are insane. So here's the thing about Uptown Beverage, by the way, and we're going to go back into the Uptown Beverage conversation. This is when I knew, because you and I met in Christmas time, December of 2020. For my former employer, I did an event with you guys, and I'm like, whoever that guy is knows what's going on. We got the Santa hats on, we got the deals, we got the tea. I'm like, you know what? That guy knows what he's doing. I want to make sure I stay connected with him. And I wonder, and maybe you feel this way. We've touched on some of your previous jobs before and where you've worked. It feels like that experience at USC. Maybe you came back from a semester, you came back from whatever it was, a summer, and you're like, I feel like a different person now because I've learned how I can improve Uptown Beverage and all the things we can do now for the business because you're able to do it hands on at USC.
Yeah, so essentially everything I learned um, in the incubator itself really helped me figure out all the negatives of what we were doing in our business here, right? For example, like actually asking the customer what they're looking for, right? Something we never did, right? Before like a year ago. Like getting feedback from customers, figuring out doing A/B testing on like which ones are more effective, which like website UIs are more effective. Like, does this look better to you or does this one look better to you? Like asking customers if they would uh, if they would use a service before actually implementing a service, right? That kind of thing, and keeping in touch with them and all this extra marketing mumbo jumbo that really helped, develop the Instagram, the Facebook, and all of our marketing material. Um, so yeah, I think just seeing all the different facets of what could go wrong helped me not make those same mistakes.
And you mentioned that phrase there at the end, things go wrong. It feels like, and we're recording this in February of 2021, you and Uptown Beverage and your family were prepared to adjust, and we've heard this word like pivot when COVID-19 hit. I remember when I was working with you guys in Christmas time, you guys had this whole system set up where you were able to communicate with the people who would come into your stores. You were able to still help them out if they felt uncomfortable to stop. It seemed like you guys were ready to adjust, like other businesses weren't, but you had picked up these skills. You're like, okay, even when something goes wrong, we're still going to find a way to connect with our customers.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of how the whole delivery system was born, out of the sheer need for contactless beer delivery, right? Just so that people wouldn't have to get out of their house and spread germs or anything, right? And that was it sped up the development of the website, it sped up everything else. So it was in a way it was a perfect storm.
Yes. Like people just heard that who don't live in the capital region probably heard that and they're like, wait a second. Uptown Beverage was delivering beer to people's houses. Or was this a dream? Was this real life? Yes. Like that's how smart is that? Yes. If you wanted the stuff, they would figure out a way to get it to you however they could, which I'm telling you, getting to know you back at Christmas time, I could see people stopping in around the holidays and being like, thank you. Like you guys took care of me. And I'm sure you feel great where you're like, I get to see this. Like I'm watching people come back to my business now because we understood what they wanted. It's such a huge factor.
Yeah, I mean, we also added so many different things. Like, um, one of the biggest things in a beer store, right, is having the product that the customer wants. Like those rare items, those really hard to get beers, like those craft beers, like Equilibrium, like Beer Tree, all those fun stuff, all those fun things, right? Um, we didn't we you don't know what every customer wants, right? So we created a beer request form online on the website, and that using that we were able to kind of figure out everything that all the customers in the area wanted, and then we'd order it for them and then email them back saying, hey, we have your stuff in, right? And that was a great way to gather attention from the customers and kind of always have what they're looking for. And we're also, so coming this March, we're launching the Growler swap program. So essentially, if you own an Uptown Beverage Growler, we'll swap it out with a clean one, then wash your used one and deliver it to your house.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And by the way, if you're listening on the audio side, check out our YouTube video, because for all this information, the Instagram, the Facebook, the address, and everything else, if you're looking for more information, that's all on our visual side of this broadcast. So do yourself a favor, Uptown Beverage, all the great things that are happening there. Again, a genius idea. People are going to love this when they stop in March and have this whole thing going on. I think I'm excited for you and your business because you understand where this is going. And maybe this is more so this piece is an advice. And I know you're young and I'm young, so it's always a strange thing to give people advice for a business. But I think you embrace this more than any other person I've talked to so far on the podcast, is that you see what technology and social media and connecting with people can truly do for a business. You kind of have this feel of where the future is going for businesses, and you guys are already seeing the benefit of that. Can you kind of explain, again, I know you touched on this a little bit about connecting with the audience, but a little bit more on social media of how you guys have seen an increase using social media for your business?
Yeah, I think you're hitting a really good point here, because I think in the capital region itself, I think a lot of businesses lack their social media is just lacking. Like they need to be there. They need to be pushing more. They need to be doing 3 to 4 posts a day to keep their audience engaged. And what it does, it's a way for people that aren't on your website all the time, checking your new stuff, that aren't in the store all the time, to be notified of what you're doing, right? People are scrolling through their phone all day long. And if you're not capitalizing on that, you're doing something wrong.
Yes,
right?
Totally right.
Yeah. And that's it. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like, even though, again, you're USC, I bet if we look around the capital region right now, you might be one of the youngest business. What's the official title we should use for you, by the way? President of Uptown Beverage, social media coordinator. I feel like you do all of the jobs over there. Whatever your title you want to use is, one of the youngest people with that title in the area, and you're seeing success. I think you're showing people an example of it doesn't matter if you're 18, 28, 58. If you have a good mindset, if you understand your audience, if you know how to connect with people, you can have success, and you're getting to see it right now in your business.
Yeah, so my dad is the official owner and president. I'm just kind of like the acting CEO.
All right, okay.
There you go. But yeah, I think you bring up a really good point about the community aspect. I think that's a lot of what drives me. I think from what I've seen at USC and what I've seen with the people that I've worked with is, if you can create an experience where that brings people together, you automatically win, right? If you create an environment where people are excited to go there and people meet their friends there, then you've created an area where people meet and they talk, right? And it automatically becomes this kind of sanctuary of just of a good time.
Yes. And I'm telling you, when I stopped in your guys' spot at Uptown Beverage, that's what I thought about, because where you guys are located on Altmont Avenue, there's a lot of lunch, late, I would say late night, but lunch dinner spots where if you want to go get food, and this is what I would have done, go get food on Altmont Ave, hit up Uptown Beverage, get your beers for the night, and have a good time. That's the best mindset you can have. I'm sure you've seen it where it's people are stopping in the store and you can see that big smile on your face, whether it's your buddies, you're going out for the night. When you become a part of that weekend experience and you can see people getting ready to have that great time because of you guys, that's got to be an amazing moment too, that these people are coming to have a good time before their night starts with you guys.
Yeah, and a lot of the time people don't want to come in the stores. A lot of people do their shopping online, right? That's kind of why Amazon is Amazon. And a lot of the reason we're pushing so much online is because we're also launching Beerbot in mid-March. So Beerbot is essentially it's a tool, literally a robot online that helps you find beer based on your emotions, the weather, and what kind of beer you're trying to look for. And it'll guide you through the website, because we have 3,500 products. You don't need to swift through that, and it'll help you find the beer you're looking for.
Wait a second. I thought you said you were done with the robot. You told me 10 minutes ago you were done. You just created a robot for your website. What are you talking about? That's incredible.
Yeah.
You came
So
out of
Beerbot's
retirement.
gonna be yeah. So Beerbot's gonna be our big push in mid March. To help people discover new beer. People that don't know what they're looking for, it'll help them find what they're looking for. Um, People that are looking to find something that's good for if you're in a relationship, you're looking for something that's good for you and your girlfriend, right?
Yes. You
We'll
know,
help you find it. Everything.
that's right, man.
And
I got two more questions for you because I know you're super busy. Actually, before we even connected, I saw you like walk it in like you just did a double session, double practice workout for a sprint or something. So that means you guys are working hard at Uptown Beverage, which is a really good thing. So two more questions for you, and then I'll let you go to like maybe sleep and probably get up. What's your day like? What are you, a 10-hour, 12-hour, 14-hour day, by the way?
so so let me start with like kind of what my goal is for Uptown Beverage. Like I
Yeah.
think that kind of fits like my daily routine.
Yeah.
So the goal is to become the Amazon of beer for all of the United States,
Okay.
right? So we're going to tackle New York first, and then we'll move on to the rest of the U.S. later on, right? Um, but so my daily routine, I wake up at 6:30, go to the gym. If you do a lot of work, you just need to meditate, and that's my form of meditation. And I get back around 7:38, shower, eat breakfast, 9 o'clock, Uptown. Orders, website, all that fun stuff, distribution, whatever it may be, for literally the whole day. Then at 4:30 p.m., we have to send out the delivery, so you got to make the routes, all that fun stuff, right? Then the driver picks it up at 5 to 8. All the deliveries go out, close at 9. Then you work even more from 9 to 12 a.m. At home. Then I go to sleep and repeat. And in the middle of the day, uh, I like to research a lot on different markets that are emerging. So one of the things that I'm going to be launching in March is for every first time order at Uptown Beverage, you get $1 in Bitcoin.
Wait a second. Did I just hear a little Bitcoin action? Wait. Does Uptown
Yeah.
Beverage accept Bitcoin? Because I used to have some Bitcoin. I got some buddies in Syracuse. They're about to give me some Bitcoin if that's the case. You didn't tell me we're dealing with some Bitcoin at Uptown Beverage.
We don't take Bitcoin yet, but we will be giving $1 in Bitcoin to every first time order.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure to
Yeah.
clarify that. All of a sudden you see people in orange showing up with their Bitcoin to Uptown Beverage. Where are all these people from Central New York? Why are Goss's buddies sitting outside the door asking for beer?
No, but definitely big proponent of cryptocurrency.
Cool.
Big proponent. Love
Cool.
it.
I love that. I said I was going to ask you two questions. I already asked you a third one. So I'm going to promise you two more questions. One, even though you've done this, I think a lot of people who are in your spot or trying to get to where you are may have stumbled, may have made a mistake, or could make a mistake in the future. Is there one thing you've learned over the course of the last few years? Like, ooh, that was a mistake, or I shouldn't have done that. I learned my lesson, and I'm going to make sure I never do that again. Whether it's Uptown Beverage, your startup, or something else, maybe at your time at USC.
Look, I think mistakes are incredibly important to make. I think you learn a lot, but you should never make the same mistake again. If you make the same mistake again, you're like, why are you making mistakes? You make mistakes to learn, right? To grow, but you should never make the same mistake twice. That and it's kind of like the cliche thing that you hear from everyone else on YouTube and everyone else on TV, right? Just work harder than everyone else, and then you'll win. It's kind of, I think, what's his face? Will Smith talked about this like some time ago. Like, if you work hard enough, the water kind of just clears itself for you. Like everything is just makes way for you, and that's what's happening.
That's great advice. I'll close with this one more time. We've said so many cool things about Uptown Beverage. We've given you so many reasons to stop in. But for one more time, maybe people who travel into the capital region for a racing season, or maybe they're coming up for some sporting events in the near future and they want to have a few drinks after the Uptown Beverage is their spot. Tell them one more time why Uptown Beverage is the best. And whenever they're listening, why this is the spot they should hit up in the capital region.
It's simply a new reality. It's the newest way to buy beer, the newest way to shop for beer. It's free same day beer delivery in the whole capital region. Name one other beer store that does that. That's it.
Uptown Beverage, Bob. Appreciate the time, man. We crushed it. We had a lot
All
of
right,
fun. By the way,
man.
look, I know we had some fun. You and I are not done yet, my friend. I have a
You're
feeling
not
you and I
done.
might be partnering on a few things in the future. Let's say that we're both
I
hustlers,
agree.
man. I have a feeling you and I are going to be talking again very, very soon. How about that?
How about that? That sounds good to me, man.
And I'll be stomping and getting some beer soon too. So
There we go.
have
That's what I was waiting for.
a good night. We can talk again soon.
All right, man. Talk to you.